Hola amigos, this is Level 12, and today we are going to be discussing how I was wrong about the Philippines design, and it's because of comments I got from actual Filipino people about how they feel about the design. Because while I have my opinions on Hima's art style, which is a whole other video in and of itself, they actually talk or commented about their feelings on the design, and I wanted to shed some light on it for any of you that might have been thinking the same way and just didn't read through the comments. So the first thing that I want to discuss, I made two very big points. One, I wanted the Philippines to be female, and then the second one is that I didn't like the way the character was designed. So, just my first point is how I wanted the Philippines to be female because we have so few female characters in Hitalia. I didn't want another male character. So both of these comments are by Filipino people. One's name is Kirsten and the other name is Bun Mangoes. I'll just be calling them Kirsten and Bun. So Kirsten, she said, as a Filipino, I honestly don't care if he is a male. Actually, I'm glad he as in Hema made him a male. If Philippines is a she will be Seychelles 2010's 2.0. Which, I don't know if that means she's going to be whitewashed or just shipped with everyone, but whatever. Trust me, she will be hated by foreign communities by being shipped by everyone in the world. I honestly think Philippines doesn't seem to be a country to be a girl or have the best intentions of being a girl. This would take her in a much more darker level of history consisting of sexual harassment, the R word, being bullied, and only depending on America when it comes to many things, which is a very good point. The Philippines OC that floated around in the design I showed does suffer from Mary Sue syndrome, which is being just this most perfect character with no flaws and being shipped with literally every male character, especially Japan, Spain, and America, which are three countries she should not be shipped with. I very much subscribe to the rule of thought, don't ship colonies with their colonizer, because there's a lot of trauma there. And I just understand that whole spiel. I get it. I understand. It will be so disturbing and worse, people will ship her to the people who did that to her, meaning Spain, Japan, and America. And by reading all the headcanons for female Philippines, it's becoming too boring now. She has always fallen the kind, sweet, mature Mary Sue side, which is true. Everything I have seen about her, I mean, I like her design other than the Catholic necklace. I don't know how the Philippines are with their Catholicism and how that relates to the historical trauma, but I always found it weird to see her with a cross necklace. Maybe that's just me. And I can understand how she would fall into that Mary Sue fit, because how are you going to make a fanon character and make it common through fan fictions and stuff and fan art? Well, just make her a perfect Mary Sue character, which is not good characterization, and that is the exact opposite of the majority of Filipino stereotypes. I don't know many Filipino stereotypes. By looks, she doesn't have any uniqueness to her. She is a copycat of Hungary, but Filipinonized. And I am honestly thankful that Philippines isn't a girl. And then Bun said, as a Filipino, I'm gonna be honest, I cut her comment because there's multiple little things to it, but this is the part that relates to this. I always see the Philippines as being shipped with almost all of the male countries. While most of it is fine, I can't stand Japan, Spain, and America. Spain colonized us for 333 years, my eyes are weird, and is responsible for killing most, if not all, our national heroes. They treated our country unfairly, even if I know we're a colony, and they were the ones who made our country. Who are the ones who named our country. For Japan, they may have colonized us for a short time, but they also scarred us so bad. Masaharu Homa is one of, if not the worst leaders to step in our country, to make our people and America's people participate in the Death March, to use our people as comfort women, same for other countries like South Korea, which I don't know what a comfort woman is, but it just sounds like a concubine, and it doesn't sound good, so bad thing. So part of the reason why a female Philippines would be weird is because of those comfort women, and the likelihood of her being shipped with countries like Spain and Japan and America would just make the dynamic really weird. And if you don't know what the Death March is, it's called the Bataan Death March, which is during World War II. Japan made 60 to 80,000 American and Filipino soldiers march a very long way. My school's ROTC actually had like a Bataan Death March where in one day they did not the course that the actual death march in the Philippines that they had to do, but like the same length in like rainy conditions. It is not a pleasant experience. And the reason the ROTC would do it is because to show what the soldiers go through and the hardships of being a soldier. It's not for the faint of heart by any means. They were so cruel to us that my grandpa, one of the men who participated in it, breaks down as soon as he hears it. So it's clearly a bad thing, and it's not something, it's that historical trauma that you don't want to unearth and do wrong. It's like shipping Poland with like Germany. It's a little strange and a little fishy. The next thing that I was upset about was the design of being a Bishi male, because we have so many of those. So many. I'm tired of it. But I was, again, Kirsten very kindly said, by his male design, I think it is on point. Muscular Filipino men isn't even that common in the Philippines, nor is it iconic. Again, I don't know much about the Philippines. I know a lot of history of the Philippines. Like, I knew the Bataan Death March, and I knew the horribleness that Spain, Japan, and even America caused because I took AP US history, but I don't know much about modern Philippines. If anything, gay Filipino men is much more common and iconic. Philippines is basically America but gayer and has brain cells. So I honestly doubt that the fan-made design fits Phil. She shortened it. Filipinos aren't the most serious type when it comes to many problems, especially what happened this December. I don't know what happened this December. I'm assuming it's the design. Hema didn't pull a Portugal on us, rather we pulled it on ourselves, which I think is very true. And by that, Hema didn't show us a female design and then he picked a male design. It's, we all thought and had collectively concluded that the Philippines was gonna be female. Like, we convinced our little rat brains that that was gonna happen. But in reality, Hema never really gave us any hint, at least to my knowledge, that the Philippines was gonna be female. She ends her comment with, I just hope that Hema sticks to Indonesia's and Malaysia's concept design because they have much more potential on being a female by history, which is part of the reason Vietnam is female, because Vietnam has had a lot of strong female leaders. Again, I don't know much about the Philippines, so it's good to have actual people who know about the Philippines and who are Filipino to give the stupid foreigner, me, I hate using that term because I try and be really in the know, but I'm not, on what the whole deal is. And something very interesting is Bun Mango's full comment was from a Filipino perspective on just having the Philippines in general. She says, as a Filipino, I'm going to be honest, part of me wishes he didn't add the Philippines, which is a very interesting concept, and I want to know if anyone is upset that their country was added to Hitalia or doesn't want their country to be added, please tell me in the comments below. But she continues, I'm okay with the country being around, what I'm afraid is the ships, 1P or Neo. The thing with Hitalia fans with the Philippines is that they make them the one in a harem, which honestly a lot of Filipino Italians are actually against now, and then we've already read the reasons as to why, but she continues, no, ooh, sorry, but that's history, X has changed, that's not cutting it. When I see Spain X Philippines or Japan X Philippines, it will and always will be toxic, which I think is a very interesting perspective, and I think it's true, because when you've been colonized for like 333 years by Spain, like, first of all, that's just a weird parental relationship if you just want to go surface level, but going into the deep history, it wasn't a good experience. Missionaries and all that stuff and the colonization of other countries was never a pleasant experience. Even in countries like India, where one can say, well, it was a good experience because of the tea trade and all that jazz, but it wasn't. Being colonized is never a fun experience. And toxic relationships should not be romanticized. You can't make history just angst make up after fight gig for this country. Those countries left a lot of our cities in ruins. By shipping our countries with these countries is like numbing the pain our country went through. I only tolerate America ex Philippines the slightest because they were kind to the city I live in. That's why I didn't bother going into the fandom until 2019. And yeah, that's why I rarely ship any of the countries. And I understand this perspective, and I think it's a very fair one to have if you live in that culture. As someone who's dejected from it, who isn't Filipino at all, who has no connection to the Philippines, it's very easy for me to just shrug it off and be like, ships. And I try not to do that. I might fail sometimes because I don't understand all the historical context and all the cultural stuff, because even there's some things that baffle me on how Taiwan and Japan get along so well together nowadays because of the history Taiwan and Japan have. Same thing with Poland and Lithuania, how they're super close in the anime, but there's still like divides on whether they between Polish and Lithuanian fans and historical people who are like, well, should they be friends in the show? It's all very interesting, and I think the voices we should be listening to the most are the people in those cultures, and I've heard conflicting things about a lot of things, but this seems to be a collective of the Philippines needs to be treated with respect, and most certainly should not be shipped with Spain or Japan, and even like America to a certain extent. I don't think I would ship her with America either, because that's still a very weird parental relationship. When America went to the Philippines, it was mostly just to out Spain and to get the Philippines as a colony, because Manifest Destiny, once they captured like California and Oregon and all that jazz, that they went westward and got places like Guam and Hawaii and the Philippines and all those other little islands out there. That was America's plan. It wasn't to be a savior, it was to colonize. That was their big shtick. So yeah. I hope you found this video enlightening. I really found it enlightening to read these comments, because I wasn't against the Philippines being put into Italia, but what I had criticized the design for now makes a little bit more sense to me, and I'll definitely be sensitive about handling the Philippines in the upcoming show. I'm really interested on how Hima is going to have this character interact with other characters, because something I've noticed, even if I haven't read the comics, is the characters generally interact with characters in their same region. So for the Philippines, that would be places like Japan, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, Macau. Like, that's the area, the general area the Philippines is in, unless he's going to introduce Indonesia and Malaysia. And we have Thailand and India, so those are all really close to the Philippines, so that's the block of characters you can expect the Philippines to be interacting with. And I'm a little nervous on how he's gonna do the stuff with Spain and America and stuff, and Japan, especially Japan. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more random fandom things. Ciao, chicos.